The truth behind ninjas, running on walls, history versus Hollywood. A shadow darts across a moonlit wall. In countless movies, we've seen ninjas defy gravity, running up vertical surfaces as if physics were merely a suggestion. These black-clad warriors have captured global imagination, starring in everything from serious historical dramas to over-the-top action films. But here's a question that might surprise you. Did real ninjas ever actually run on walls? The answer takes us deep into one of history's most fascinating mysteries, where Hollywood fantasy collides with historical reality. And the truth? It's even more intriguing than fiction. Picture yourself in 16th century Japan. The country is divided by war, and information is worth more than gold. In this dangerous era, a special class of warriors emerged, but they looked nothing like what you might expect. Forget the iconic black suits and supernatural abilities. Real ninjas, or shinobi as they were known in Japan, were masters of something far more powerful: the art of being ordinary. That's right. The most effective ninja was the one you'd never suspect. They dressed as farmers, merchants, or monks, hiding in plain sight. Why? Because a mysterious figure in black would attract exactly the kind of attention a spy wanted to avoid. The black suits we associate with ninjas today actually come from kabuki theater, where stagehands dressed in black were considered invisible on stage. When ninja characters needed to appear stealthy in plays, they adopted this theatrical convention, and a legend was born. But if they couldn't run on walls, what could real ninjas do? Their actual skills were far more practical, and in many ways, more impressive. Take the famous ninja houses of Iga and Koga. These regions, located in modern-day Mie Prefecture, were the historical centers of ninja training. Here, aspiring shinobi learned techniques that would put modern special forces to shame. Consider the silent walk technique. Ninjas learned to move without making a sound by carefully distributing their weight and using specific foot positions. They would practice walking on squeaky nightingale floors, uguisubari, that were specifically designed to chirp when stepped on, a medieval Japanese security system. A skilled ninja could cross these floors without triggering a single sound. And while they couldn't literally run on walls, they did have ingenious methods for scaling them. The yorikage was a hand-forged climbing hook attached to a rope, allowing ninjas to scale castle walls with remarkable efficiency. They also used ashiko, iron cleats strapped to their feet, and shuko, hand claws, to climb surfaces that would seem impossible to others. These tools, combined with rigorous training, allowed them to perform feats that might appear supernatural to observers. But perhaps their most powerful weapon wasn't physical at all. It was psychological. Ninjas were masters of misdirection and manipulation. They studied human behavior extensively, learning how to blend into any social situation. They knew that the best way to gather intelligence wasn't through dramatic acrobatics, but through careful observation and winning people's trust. Take the story of Mochizuki Chiyomi, a female ninja leader who created a network of kunoichi, female ninja spies, disguised as shrine maidens. These women moved freely through society, gathering intelligence while maintaining perfect cover as religious figures. No wall running required. Just brilliant strategic thinking and deep understanding of social dynamics. The real tools of the ninja trade were equally fascinating. While movies show them carrying an arsenal of exotic weapons, actual ninjas preferred simple, practical tools that wouldn't attract attention. A farming sickle could become a weapon. A bamboo tube could be used as a breathing apparatus for underwater escape. Even their famous smoke bombs were often made from everyday materials like eggshells filled with blinding powder. One of the most ingenious tools was the mizugumo, water spider shoes that allowed ninjas to walk across moats and rice paddies without sinking. These weren't magical devices, but clever applications of physics and natural materials. The shoes distributed weight across a wider surface area, much like modern snowshoes. This kind of practical innovation was the true hallmark of ninja ingenuity. The Hollywood ninja effortlessly dodges arrows and catches bullets with their bare hands. But the real ninja's approach to combat might surprise you. They did everything possible to avoid it. As one ancient ninja manual states, The art of ninjutsu is not about winning fights, but about avoiding them altogether. This brings us to one of the most fascinating aspects of ninja training, the development of situational awareness. In the mountains of IGA, young shinobi underwent an exercise called Goton Po, the art of escape and concealment. They would spend days in the wilderness, learning to move through different terrains while staying completely undetected. But here's the twist. They weren't just hiding from people. They were learning to move without disturbing animals. Think about that for a moment. If you can walk through a forest without startling a deer or causing birds to take flight, you've achieved a level of stealth that no amount of black clothing can match. This training was so effective that some modern military special forces units have adopted similar principles for their stealth training. The ninja's famous skill with poisons wasn't about movie-style assassination either. Instead, they were masters of medicinal herbs and compounds. Many ninja families maintain detailed records of botanical knowledge passed down through generations. They knew which plants could cause confusion, induce sleep, or create smoke screens. But just as importantly, they knew which plants could heal wounds, cure illnesses, and provide emergency nutrition in the wild. Consider the case of Tanaka Kaimon, a 17th century ninja who infiltrated a heavily guarded castle not through athletic prowess, but by spending 3 years working as a gardener. He used his knowledge of plants to gradually gain trust, eventually becoming responsible for the medicinal herb garden. This position gave him access to every corner of the castle, as he was called upon to gather specific herbs for various ailments. His greatest weapon? Patience. The ninja's legendary ability to disappear wasn't achieved through smoke bombs alone. They studied natural phenomena like weather patterns and animal behavior. They knew that fog tends to be thickest just before dawn, that certain birds make distinctive calls when humans approach, and that particular phases of the moon provide optimal conditions for covert movement. This knowledge was compiled in secret manuals called densho, many of which have only recently been discovered and translated. One particularly interesting technique was called shinobi iri, the art of stealth entry. While movies show ninjas dramatically breaking into castles, real ninjas spent months or even years mapping out target locations. They would note guard rotation patterns, identify structural weaknesses, and most importantly, understand the daily rhythms of life in their target location. The goal wasn't to break in, but to enter so naturally that no one would question their presence. Their training in disguise went far beyond simply changing clothes. Ninjas studied regional dialects, local customs, and professional mannerisms. They learned how merchants walked differently from farmers, how religious pilgrims carried their belongings, and how servants behaved in different households. This attention to detail was so complete that many successful ninja operations were never discovered, because no one realized an operation had taken place at all. Remember those infamous ninja stars, or shuriken? While they did exist, they weren't primarily weapons of assassination as Hollywood would have you believe. They were tools of distraction, often used to create noise in one direction while the ninja moved in another. Some shuriken were designed specifically to sound like bird calls when thrown, allowing ninjas to communicate silently over distance. The ninja's mastery of fire was equally practical. While movies show them throwing fireballs, real ninjas used controlled burns to create diversions, signal allies, or simply provide light for nighttime operations. They developed a technique called uzura-bai, quail fire, which involved creating small, contained fires that could be quickly extinguished, leaving no trace. These fires were often used to test wind directions before deploying smoke screens or signal allies without attracting attention. So if ninjas couldn't run on walls or throw fireballs, why do these myths persist? The answer lies in something the ninjas themselves might have appreciated: the power of storytelling. During Japan's Edo period, a genre of books called ninja novels became incredibly popular. These works of fiction mixed real ninja techniques with increasingly fantastic elements, creating the superhuman ninja image we know today. But here's something fascinating. Even these exaggerated stories served a purpose similar to real ninja techniques: misdirection. While people were captivated by tales of supernatural ninjas, real shinobi could continue their work unnoticed. In a way, the myth of the superhuman ninja became the perfect cover for actual ninja operations. Let's look at the famous ninja castle of Himeji. While tourists today marvel at its supposed ninja-proof features, like the confusing maze-like layout and defensive architecture, the reality is even more interesting. Real ninjas would have had little interest in dramatically scaling its walls. Instead, they would more likely have posed as construction workers during the castle's many renovation periods, or infiltrated the staff as servants. The best ninja operation is the one that history never recorded. This brings us to perhaps the most surprising truth about ninjas. Many of their techniques are still relevant today. Modern military special forces study ninja methods of gathering intelligence and moving undetected. Corporate security experts analyze ninja techniques for protecting sensitive information. Even the U.S. Marine Corps has studied ninja training methods for their psychological warfare operations. Consider the ninja principle of Kyojitsu Tenkan-ho, the art of mixing truth and fiction to create confusion. This technique is strikingly similar to modern military deception strategies and cybersecurity practices. When a modern company creates a honeypot to trap hackers, they're using a technique that would have been familiar to any IGA ninja. The ninja understanding of human psychology was centuries ahead of its time. They knew that the best way to keep a secret wasn't to hide it behind high walls, but to make it seem uninteresting. In today's world of information overload, this principle is more relevant than ever. As one modern security expert put it, the ninja weren't just martial artists, they were the world's first social engineers. Even their training methods offer valuable lessons for today. The ninja emphasis on practical skills over flashy techniques, their focus on awareness over aggression, and their understanding that the best solution is often the simplest one. These are principles that apply to everything from military operations to business strategy. In IGA and Koga today, there are still families who preserve authentic ninja traditions. They're not training spies anymore, but they maintain the real techniques and philosophy of their ancestors. These practitioners emphasize that the true ninja way was never about supernatural powers, but about understanding nature, understanding people, and understanding yourself. So the next time you see a ninja running up a wall in a movie, remember, the real ninjas were far more impressive. They didn't need to defy physics because they had mastered something far more powerful: the ability to work with human nature rather than against it. They understood that true power lies not in the ability to confront, but in the wisdom to avoid confrontation altogether. The legacy of the ninja lives on, not in black-clad assassins or supernatural powers, but in the enduring principles they developed: patience over speed, wisdom over strength, and preparation over confrontation. In a world that often celebrates the dramatic and the flashy, perhaps we could all learn something from the real ninja's preference for effectiveness over appearance. After all, the most important lesson from the real ninja tradition might be this: the greatest achievements are often the ones that nobody notices at all. Thank you for watching this exploration of the real ninja history. If you enjoyed discovering the fascinating truth behind these legendary warriors, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. We have many more videos coming up about Japan's hidden history and incredible cultural traditions. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to stay updated on our latest content. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most amazing truths are hidden in plain sight.